Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another special ranking video, I guess you could call this. This one is for Ritchie Blackmore. It's recently been Ritchie Blackmore's birthday. I'm not going to say the age because I hope that this video will continue to be relevant in years to come. So people won't look back and think, oh, it was that, but what about now? Maybe. But again, with all of my ranking videos, my mind can change. And with someone like Ritchie Blackmore, who is my favourite guitarist of all time, mainly because of my entry point for Ritchie. So this video is dedicated to the man himself. So hi, Ritchie. Thank you for watching. And to Candice as well. Candice and Ritchie, of course, make fantastic music in Blackmore's Night, and have to say that Candice has made the Man in Black smile so much since they've been together. And I really mean that seriously as well. I mean, you watch the recent videos and stuff, and of course I've seen Blackmore's Night quite a few times, and I know it was the 70s, but no one smiled then. But there's no doubt about it. Ritchie Blackmore seems completely comfortable in his own skin now. His achievements, he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. However, what I would like to do now is share with you 25 Ritchie Blackmore moments that I feel define him as a guitarist. So if you're brand new to the works of Ritchie Blackmore, this list of 25 tracks is a great place to start. It's pretty fluid. It's based on tracks that mean the most to me, but equally I have tried to think about the ones I've chosen that they will also help you, if you're new to Ritchie Blackmore, understand why he is one of the guitar greats in the world of popular music. I'm not going to say just rock and metal because it's beyond that. And of course Blackmore comes from a period where this metal and shredding stuff didn't exist. The man is a tour de force of taste, measured approach to his playing. He plays from the heart. It serves the song, but equally he's one of the most exciting musicians on the planet, and his music is timeless. Anyway, here we go. I'll need a pen and paper. I have a pen and paper. Do I have a pen? I do, because I'll need to cross them off, otherwise I won't know where I am. And I know some of you will be able to probably see a rough idea what's coming up, but they aren't quite in the order that I'm going to say them. Anyway, number 25 is from the album Bent Out of Shape. And the track I have chosen is The Snowman. Yes, The Snowman, that fantastic children's animated feature that comes around at Christmas every year. Ritchie Blackmore's interpretation of The Snowman by Howard Blake is sublime. That kind of controlled tremolo arm and echo and reverb in different parts of the song, it's just achingly beautiful. I remember buying this and seeing that and realizing he's done a version of the Snowman theme and being excited about it. I didn't at one point think, why is he doing that? It's a great album anyway. Bent Out of Shape is one of my favourite Rainbow albums. But The Snowman is the track at number 25 of my top Ritchie Blackmore moments. At number 24 may or may not be a surprise to many of you. It is Smoke on the Water, and it has to be the Made in Japan version. The Machine Head version is great, but once you've heard Made in Japan, once you've heard Made in Japan's interpretations of the Machine Head tracks, there's only 7 tracks on Made in Japan, but the Smoke on the Water on this one, I know if you buy the big box set, or you can get all the different dates now, there are 3 dates recorded for Made in Japan, but it is the one on the 15th of August, the only date where he didn't fluff the riff. Yes, technically, one of the simplest guitar riffs of all time, one of the most memorable guitar riffs of all time. Ritchie Blackmore kind of fluffs it on the other 2 nights. But on the 15th, in Osaka, in 1972, he played an absolute blinder with that kind of false start at the beginning. Only Blackmore can play Smoke on the Water. That's my opinion. And the version to hear is from Made in Japan. Okay, next. At number 23 is Taro Woman from Rainbow Rising. Rainbow Rising, I've done a whole video on that separately. It's one of the finest, best rock albums of all time, and it has 3 absolute pinnacle moments for Ritchie Blackmore's history of his music making, if you like. And Taro Woman, the opening track, is one of them. When we ease past Tony Carey's kind of synthesizer solo, when we hear that, you just know it's Ritchie Blackmore. And it's hard to explain what it was like back in 1976, coming home on the bus and putting the record on and lowering that needle and hearing that for the first time and just thinking, oh my God, this is Ritchie Blackmore. This is a second Rainbow album. And this one, I just know this is going to be epic. And it is 30 minutes and we're nearly out of it. That's all it is, but it is absolutely fantastic. And what a great opener. Taro Woman from Rainbow Rising. Every home should have one of those. Next is, at number 22, is Eyes of the World from Down to Earth. Still one of the great opening songs of all time. Graham Bonnet Band open with this all the time. How could they not? I remember seeing them at Castle Donington, the Monsters of Rock, in 1980, the first Monsters of Rock festival. And it was such a return to form in a way. The guitars, the guitar production, the solo spots, it's just an epic song. Eyes of the World from Down to Earth, 1979. 1979, I'm now going to roll back a whole decade to the first Deep Purple lineup, Mark 1, and it's from the album Deep Purple, by Deep Purple, and the track is Why Didn't Rosemary. I think this is the first, from the early Deep Purple, Shades and Book of a Talisman, and this one, I feel that, to me, Why Didn't Rosemary was the first place, in a way, where Blackmore turned that corner and everything started to fall into place in regards to his style and where he was heading as a guitarist. It's a great track. Obviously, there's some wonderful stuff on here, like April, which is also the sign of where John Lord was going with his orchestral arrangements and stuff. But Why Didn't Rosemary from the Deep Purple album by Deep Purple, 1969. Next is Machine Head and Pictures of Home. Pictures of Home has also been great in the hands of Steve Morse as well. The way that the song came back to life, and in many ways, being a fan of all lineups of Deep Purple, seeing what Steve Morse did to it really made me feel, why couldn't Deep Purple Mark II do Pictures of Home live? I'm sure it would have been a great place for Blackmore to have stretched out. His guitar playing, the riff itself, it's a wonderful song. I could pick lots of things from this album, but I've gone in most places to the Made in Japan variants. But Pictures of Home from Machine Head is my next choice. Okay, at number 19 now is Fly to the Rat from In Rock. Another song that didn't translate live, but the solo, you've got to try and go back to being me as a kid here. This was the first Deep Purple album I ever bought. Hearing the cacophony of noise for speaking and seeing the effect it had on my dad, which obviously gave it the thumbs up completely across the board. But the sheer scope and imagination for this album being one of the templates of metal, grungy rock album that sounds more in tune with the times we live in now than it does then. And I mean, even the production, because even in the 80s, people were sort of saying the production on In Rock, it sounds a bit dated. It kind of doesn't now. It sounds brilliant. And Flight of the Rat is Deep Purple. Deep Purple, everything coming together and what was going to take them to the level that how they're seen for the world of rock. I just can't get my words out. I'm so enthusiastic about Deep Purple in Rock. Deep Purple in Rock. I mean, look at the cover. You could say, what nerve they had in doing that. Makes total sense to me. Great. Fly to the Rat is at number 19. At number 18 is Blackmore's Night. And it's from this album, which is Nature's Light. And the track on here is Second Element. Second Element I saw first on YouTube, the video they made for it. I love the song. I love Candice's singing on it. But Blackmore's guitar playing, I felt my eyes well up a little bit, realizing that tone, the melodic approach to his playing, and you just know it's Ritchie Blackmore. You know, these guitarists from this period in rock history, the 70s or late 60s, they all had their own sound and style. On Blackmore, you just know it's him. And the fact he just plays so effortlessly it's just effortless. And every note, it just touches the heart. And I think it's not an original song by Blackmore's Night, but I absolutely love it. And of all my Blackmore's Night moments, I think that's probably one of the pinnacles to me. So that is Second Element from Nature's Light by Blackmore's Night. And that is at number 18 in my list. Right, at number 17 is from the House of Blue Light. And this was a promo copy I got from a record shop in Dingles in London. And when I bought it, the people behind the counter kind of took the piss out of me for buying Deep Purple in 1987. They were so not in vogue. And I'll be honest, the album was a bit of a step down initially to my ears, thinking, is this Deep Purple? What they're trying to do? They're trying to be too modern or whatever, losing the spot where they were heading. But it had its moments, Mad Dog, etc., Unwritten Law. But in amongst the production, which is a bit muddy in places, was a song where Ritchie Blackmore really was on fire. And that song is The Spanish Archer. Listen to that. Listen to the soloing in the key part of the solo, but then also towards the end as the track races towards the end. His guitar playing is absolutely off the scale, and it just shows that even amongst all this stuff that's going on, the band they were fragmenting a little bit. But The Spanish Archer, one of Ritchie Blackmore's finest moments from the House of Blue Light. Next is from Fireball, and the track, I was torn here. It was either going to be Fools, because of Blackmore's use of the volume control, which of course he took into Space Trucking and Money Japan, and obviously in lots of other places as well. But it's got to be No, No, No. A song that at the time wasn't one of my favourite Purple tracks. I felt it kind of went on too long when I was young. But I've realised as the years have gone by, it is a masterclass in control and constraint and listening to what is required in the song. I think Simon Robinson said something like, it should be played in every school for people to understand the dynamics of writing rock music. And I think it's because there are two solos, aren't there? The first one is like the slide solo. Blackmore's slide playing is also exceptional. But it is the second one with the almost funky feel and the, Roger Glover's bass and Ian Pace on the drums and everything, and John Lord, where you realise that in the hands of anybody else, this would be 1,000 notes. It would be a look at me guitar solo, whereas what Ritchie Blackmore does is so tasteful, and obviously he's really in the groove of the song. He's in the song and he's not thinking, what can I do to make myself look super duper here, or get to make sure I'm in the Sound's top guitarist poll. He just plays what is required, but it is inventive, original, and it's what makes Ritchie Blackmore so special. That's from Fireball in 1971. Now racing forward to 1984, and it's Knocking on Your Back Door from Perfect Strangers. Or I could have gone for Under the Gun. The solos are kind of similar in a way. There are two solos. The best solos are the ones that head towards the fade out. And Blackmore's guitar, this is where he's playing the kind of Eastern snake charmer type riff that he kind of really was leaning towards at this period of his playing. But for a lot of people, this is their favourite Deep Purple album, I know. But those two tracks to me really show that Blackmore was back in the driving seat and really pushing forwards. This was only literally a few months after Bent Out of Shape. Those two albums, Bent Out of Shape and this, to me, are joined at the hip in many ways. But yet, listen to the guitar playing, the slide playing, the tonality. You just know it's Ritchie Blackmore. But each time, each phase we go through Blackmore, he takes something from the past, but he's moving into the future as well. So Knocking at the Back Door even, is my choice at, where have I put that? At number 15 in my top Ritchie Blackmore moments. At number 14 is from Burn. It isn't Burn. It's A200. What? Yes, A200. It might have been seen as the kind of throwaway track from Burn. I know when it was reviewed that nearly all the critics kind of wrote it off as some kind of sub-Doctor Who instrumental, that obviously they'd run out of ideas. No. Listen to the guitar solo on A200. Listen to how it starts. That literally, imagine him standing on top of a cliff, looking out to sea, and he just comes up with those bent notes as it just is so emotive and emotional. Whatever you're going through in life, and you want something to pick you up, just listen to the way that guitar solo starts, and then it just starts to just like a waterfall of notes as it goes towards the outer part of the solo. It is absolutely incredible. A200 from Burn, 1974. A hidden gem in the world of Ritchie Blackmore. Next is from Rainbow, but not what we've seen as classic Rainbow, but it should be. It's from Black Masquerade, and it is the Doogie White lineup of Ritchie Blackmore, and it was live at, where was this one done? This was off the Rock Palace gig, and the reason why I've chosen this is for Temple of the King. Now you can see this on YouTube as well as a live concert or by the DVD, but the version of Temple of the King from this album, he stood still. He's just concentrating on his playing, and it starts really slow and builds up, and it is an exercise again in speed, control, constraint, melody, emotion. It is absolutely incredible. And you suddenly realise that a song that was sometimes, back in 1975, when I bought the first Ritchie Blackmore Rainbow album, it was a track that sometimes I didn't play as much as the others. I'm from the generation where I'd put albums on before I was going out on a Friday or Saturday night, and I'd cherry pick the tracks I was going to play. I know now everyone goes, I play the whole album all the way through. Well, not everyone did. And so I used to miss that track out. Now, I appreciate it very much so, but on here, it is the highlight of the whole concert. Give that a listen. It is absolutely incredible. From Black Masquerade even. Next is from Deep Purple. What was this one called? Sorry, Come Hell and High Water. I'm doing this unscripted as they come in the moment. I saw them on this tour. I was at Birmingham, the NEC, when Blackmore was not in a good place and missed out half the music, if I'm honest. And I know there's a DVD of that, but as good as they've tried to make it, it wasn't. But here, when we realise, this is the version to get, by the way, this little box set. You know, when you listen to Stuttgart, that's it, sorry, Stuttgart. You listen to Anya on this. It's about, how long is it? It's about 12 minutes, is it? Yeah, 12 minutes, 13 seconds. Anya. It's incredible. When you go into the solo, and obviously on The Battle Rages On, it's, you know, it's okay. And when I saw them at Birmingham NEC, it was like, oh, but on this, he just goes off on a tangent. And at the end of it, you know, you can just imagine Gillan giving a little bit of applause there, because it really shows, you know, 1993, he's still got it. It's just, again, it's this Eastern scale, but it just keeps going, and the groove from Glover and Ian Pace. And it can just, as I said, you can just imagine the band looking at it, you think, Ritchie's doing it. This is going to be a goodie. And it is. It is absolutely incredible. It's one of the best Ritchie Blackmore solos, and we always think about the classic albums, etc. And this one gets left behind. But listen to Anya off this album. It is absolutely amazing. Right. We are back to Made in Japan now, and it is Child in Time. This one always was a tour de force in a way. Child in Time off In Rock is fantastic. But on here, and the solo on In Rock from Child in Time is incredible. It's probably the first place where you start to think, oh my God, for Blackmore in many ways. But it is the version on here where it just keeps coming and coming and coming with like just blindingly fast notes. This is what I feel is still Ritchie Blackmore in his kind of R&B infused style playing before it becomes more kind of metallic, and his guitar sound starts to change in 70, 74, 75, 76. But on this, it is jaw-droppingly amazing. I know Ian Gillan had misgivings about his voice, but Ian Gillan on Child in Time is brilliant. But it is amazing. Now, Child in Time had progressed to the point where John Lord's solo spot, because they used to share this in the earlier versions of Purple, but on here it's just about Ritchie, and it is absolutely, it's just amazing. It's just talking about this stuff. I've just loved Ritchie Blackmore for so long and Deep Purple, but just go and listen. I mean, what happens when I do these videos is I get so wound up in the stuff. I end up playing nothing but what I'm talking to you about. And so Made in Japan is such an incredible album. I've done 2 videos on that already, but just listen to Child in Time. Okay? Just listen to it. Right, where are we? Child in Time. Light in the Black's next. Where's that? I'm gonna have to keep coming back to these things. Light in the Black from Rainbow. Wow. And yeah, you're almost second guessing, aren't there? There might be another track from this album in my list. Light in the Black. A simple riff, an unbelievable Cozy Powell rhythm with Tony Carey, and that solo comes in, and there are certain moments in Ritchie Blackmore's output where as soon as he starts, I just knew that what he was going to do was just going to be something that I'd never forget and would be part of my life going forwards. It would be part of my soundtrack of my life. And Light in the Black is that. It is one of those moments. The way the guitar solo starts, the way it just moves into that kind of intense groove with the double bass drum from Cozy, and you think, how the hell do you solo over that and have a sense of melody? Ritchie can, and he does. One of the whole thing, I've talked about this album at length, but the whole way, the whole dynamics and the way everything pulls together, it's just the vision of a genius. It really, really is. Okay, where am I now? We're back to Deep Purple in Rock. And the track that I've chosen now is Hard Loving Man. And I've chosen that because it's such a, I said earlier about the cacophony of noise that starts speaking. The album ends with Hard Loving Man, and it's just crazy. It's just absolutely intense, that kind of riff that was used and ripped off so many different times by different bands over the years. That real galloping riff. But the way that Blackmore takes his guitar and literally strangles it to death using the tremolo arm in such a way that you think, how can any guitar survive this? I don't know whether it did, but it is incredible. It is a template to what was going to come over the next few decades and continues to arrive from new rock bands that form now. It is absolutely a pinnacle part of the evolution of a style of music that is never going to go away. Deep Purple in Rock. This is what I was doing a while ago when talking about Fly to the Rat. I've got to do it again. Deep Purple in Rock. You do have a copy, do you not? No, some of you are saying you haven't got one yet. go and get one. Okay? 25th anniversary edition on CD, which I don't have near me, otherwise I'd show it you. I tried to have everything around me for prop wise, but yeah, the 25th anniversary one. Maybe there'll be a super deluxe edition. Who knows? Number 8. It's Rainbow again, and this time it's Mistreated. I did a video on this, so I don't want to go on too much, but Mistreated, the way it starts, how can one man have so much energy and electricity in his plectrum as he goes at that guitar neck in a way that just throws you off balance? I was there and saw him do this live in 76. It was absolutely incredible. It's the vision again of the man knowing what he can do with dynamics, light and shade. Fast, furious, loud, pulls back, soft, intense, intimate. A guitar player who can be all those things in the same song. Mistreated. This is also an absolutely spellbinding version with Ronnie James Dio on the vocals. Right, next is number 7. Is Strange Kind of Woman. Yes, it's going to be from Made in Japan, but this is from the Super Deluxe edition because the version I'm choosing is from Tokyo. Which isn't the one that was actually on the original double live album. And I've chosen the Tokyo one, which you can either try and track one of those down, which is rather expensive, or you can get it on this version quite cheaply now. And the reason why is because the guitar solo for Strange Kind of Woman from the Tokyo night and the last night is just blisteringly fantastic. When I bought this in 93, this came out, I remember playing that and walking around the flat I was in. And again, I was so happy. I felt so joyous in hearing Deep Purple from the Made in Japan tour, a track I'd never heard before. You've got to remember, now you can hear anything, but back then, to hear that song for the first time, this version of it, and the way the solo was so different, and realising that Deep Purple were dangerous. They took risks. They didn't think, well, this is what we're doing, we're on tour, this is the second night, we play the songs again, blah, blah, blah. Every night, they took risks. It could work, it might not work. And when you hear all these 3 nights together, you realise some bits sort of almost didn't work. But when it worked, when they took those risks and pushed themselves out further beyond their comfort zone, beyond the edge, that's where the magic is. And the magic on that track is guitar playing on Strange Kind of Woman from that third night. It's one of the highlights of Blackmore's career for me. It is incredible. It's this really bluesy feel, that we sound a lot of heavy metal guitarists. It's very mathematical in its approach, and it's incredibly clever. It's incredibly virtuosistic. Oh, I can't say the word. It's a virtuoso type of approach, but it kind of doesn't necessarily take the heart with it, because music is about feeling. It's the transference of emotion from one person to another without necessarily saying words. So, a musician, a vocalist obviously can go straight for the jugular, but for a musician to hit you in the heart without using words, in a way, is more difficult. You've got to, because we're human, we are flesh and blood, and things go on in our lives and how we feel about things. And so for me, what I'm trying to say is that Ritchie Blackmore on that track and that guitar solo on that version does all of those things for me. Right, where are we? This is on a single. It's on various Rainbow compilations. I've just picked this because it was easy to do it, and it's Wes Haim, which was the B-side of All Night Long, wasn't it? I believe. It's an instrumental song, and it is gorgeous. We've all wanted... Hi, Ritchie. Are you still here watching this? Great. We've always wanted you to do an album of instrumentals. We've always wanted you to do that. Maybe next time, Snowman, Wes Haim off this. Because that's the album that you probably still is left to do, really, I guess. You can pull some of those together and put it on compilation. But this side to Ritchie, when All That Long came out, I used to always put the B-side on the jukebox, and how many people would be sitting in the pub and say, what's this that's playing? It showed Ritchie Blackmore from a totally different perspective. It is one of the best moments. It is gorgeous, gorgeous playing. Next is from Deep Purple live in London, and it is You Fool No One. Why? Why this version? Because this is 1974, and to me, Ritchie Blackmore's guitar sound from 74 to early 76-ish was a different guitar sound. He was playing his blonde, natural wood finish Strat, but on here, You Fool No One, that riff that of course was going to mutate into Still I'm Sad, that he played it here in such perfection on Made in Europe and all the other variants from this that they are out there, all those different versions. It doesn't compare to this. And of course, what this also has is Ritchie Blackmore's solo shredding section, as it would be called now. But Blackmore does it in a way where it is like a waterfall of notes that's so exciting. You know, Jimmy Page had dabbled with this on Heartbreaker in 69, and lots of guitarists were doing this. Iommi was doing it, but no one did it like Blackmore. And of course, in the 80s, loads of guitarists had solo spots where they just shredded and shredded. But Blackmore does it in a way that is the sound, his sound and sliding his plectrum down the strings. Everything about this is just Blackmore, and it's just different. It's not boring. It's not self-indulgent. It's a masterclass in guitar playing. It is the birth of that kind of playing in a way, and it is absolutely incredible. It's a shame that in some ways the production of this album is a bit muddy in places, but it is still testament of one of the best live performances of Deep Purple. It is up there. Seek it out. I know the cover was not maybe great, and which one I have got. Yes, get this one. Get the 2 CD version. Space Trucking is a bit overblown, a bit self-indulgent, but You Fool No One shows Ritchie Blackmore at the height of his powers in the Burn tour. I saw them in 74. I saw them do this. And that's probably another reason why I like this album so much, is because it reminds me of seeing my first real rock band on stage at Birmingham Odeon in May 1974. Incredible. You Fool No One. The version of Burn on here is fantastic as well. Gosh, we're nearly there. Number 4, which segues from the riff that Ritchie Blackmore was dabbling with from You Fool No One, because it is Still I'm Sad from Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow from 1975. I bought this in my first week's salary after leaving school for £3.25 from W.H. Smith in Mill Square in Solihull near Birmingham. And I loved a lot of it, but we wanted to hear Ritchie Blackmore stretch out. He left Deep Purple. What was he going to do that was going to take guitar playing higher and higher and higher? Still I'm Sad. It's got that mystical aspect to it with the kind of vocals going on very distantly mixed into the mix. But his solo, his guitar playing, how his style had changed from the kind of R&B, rhythmy blues kind of early Purple to this really more metallic, lots of playing on one single string on one note. Still I'm Sad was really bringing that home, really. And it is a highlight of this album, and to me, one of the most exciting guitar instrumentals ever laid down. Still I'm Sad from Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow in 1975. Number 3. Number 3 is Highway Star from Made in Japan. Highway Star from Made in Japan is one of the best, most exciting opening songs. It sums up and brings the whole aspect of Deep Purple and where Ritchie Blackmore was at this point in time into pure 100% focus of the genius behind it. The guitar's out of control, the tremolo arms all over the place, and somehow he manages to stay in tune. It's unbelievable. This, you probably noticed I've been going through this and shown different versions, because luckily I've got multiple versions of these albums. Otherwise I'd have to keep digging the same one out. This one is my original from Woolworths, £3.25, which I bought, I think, in 1974. The whole album is one of the best. Well, it is my favourite live album of all time. But I'm supposed to be just talking about Ritchie Blackmore, aren't I? But again, the whole way it starts, the whole way it starts with Blackmore, the guitar is like, it's barely under control, isn't it? It's barely under control. You have feelings like he's fighting a wild animal, trying to keep all of this together. The whole band, as I said earlier, when I talked about Made in Japan, it's dangerous. It's on the edge. It might work. It might not work. That picture of Ritchie on the back there. And in fact, I've got this picture of Ritchie here, which you can hopefully just about see, is my favourite picture of Ritchie on the inside of the Made in Japan album cover. It just looks like in complete command of what he's doing. A man of mystery, man in black, Highway Star. The version off Machine Head is great, but this one is definitive. It is definitive. Next, what have I done with it? Bear with me. I put the wrong thing down. Right. We're back to this. This isn't a surprise, is it? We're out number 2 in my rundown of the top 25 Ritchie Blackmore moments that everyone should hear. And it is Stargazer. It's one of those things as I said, Tara Woman's in there, Lights in the Black's in there. But you've got to try and remember what it was like, turning the album over, from Do You Close Your Eyes, and seeing that there's only 2 tracks on this side and thinking, I wonder what's going to happen here. It's obviously going to be longer than 3 minutes. And playing Stargazer and knowing when each time we went round that cycle of verse and chorus, that when we go into the solo, this is going to be unbelievable. And we are talking slide playing to the gods. Literally, as Dio talks about building a tower, Blackmore's guitar races up and builds a tower that literally goes through the heavens and into outer space. It is just a groove that it could have just gone on and on and on and on. It is timeless. It is one of the best rock tracks of all time. When I was growing up, which I'm hoping to do one day, I always felt that when I thought about Ritchie Blackmore, there was Deep Purple, and then underneath all of that was Rainbow. As I've gone through life, I've realised that there were many things in Rainbow that have kind of risen up through the ranks, really. And so this is my second favourite Ritchie Blackmore moment, is Stargazer from the album Rainbow Rising from 1976. So what is number 1? I'm obviously wearing a Stormbringer t-shirt, but nothing has featured from the album, which I've just realised as I'm talking to you here. However, number 1 is, it's from Burn. It's not A200 because we've done that, and it isn't any of the other tracks apart from only one track it could possibly be, and it is Burn. I think I could say that Burn is my favourite track ever. If I had to pick Burn. The riff, the way the riff moves into starting the track, the drum roll, the drum solo behind each verse, the sheer vision of this, it was unlike anything that Deep Purple had done. This was brand new, this kind of neo-classical soloing. It's just incredible. Everything about it. And then live, of course, it took on a whole new feel. But this version, the studio version, Blackmore's vision, the way the riff is brought into play, missing out the riff before we go into the keyboard solo, but that guitar solo, the way that it dovetails into what John Lord does in his solo, these classical, flexions amongst the music. But it is, again, a masterclass, of thought This is interesting because Blackmore said, "No, apart from My Way Star, I didn't really work anything out." But he did on this. This was well thought out. 6 minutes of absolute brilliance. So yeah, we've gone through 25 Ritchie Blackmore moments, and we've reached number 1, and it is Burn from 1974. God, I love this album. I just absolutely love everything about it. Why weren't the candles ever sold separately? I'd have bought them. But yeah, Burn, 1974. First album without a gatefold sleeve from the Purple Camp. And the first album that wasn't like 4 tracks on one side and 3 on the other. So you notice these things when you're a Deep Purple fan. But Burn, it's still, to this day, is the most exciting thing to hear. And I must play it literally most weeks. And it's great for driving too. And it's great for if I'm, whatever's going on in my life, just put Burn on. Have a Burn fix. Seriously. Great. Listen to Burn, everybody. Listen to it. So yes, stream to discover, then buy a CD or buy the album, support the artist. This is what Now Spinning Magazine is all about. It's about the joy of physical music. And just to finish off with, so Burn, get the anniversary CD version. For Machine Head, there's lots of versions. The Roger Glover one, obviously there's the new one as well, which is Dweezil's Apple Mix, but the Roger Glover one can still be found quite easily. And try, if you're going to go for Perfect Strangers, go for the remaster with the Son of a Lyric extra track on there as well. Oh, and finally, House of Blue Light. The tracks on here are slightly longer than on the CD than they were on the vinyl version. But I hope you enjoyed that. So that is a rundown of the top 25 Ritchie Blackmore moments. So I hope you enjoyed that, and happy birthday, Ritchie. And thank you for all of the music. Thank you for supplying the soundtrack for me and for thousands of people around the world. You are an incredible player, an incredible artist, incredible person, and best wishes to you, Candice, as well. Thank you so much, all of you, for watching this and managing to get through to the other end. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. So keep spinning those discs. Please subscribe, ring that little bell. If you want to support us in any other way, you can become patrons, YouTube members, buy me a coffee at Ko-fi. There's so many things you can do, and you'll see all of these videos before any of them go anywhere else, plus lots of other stuff as well. So keep spinning those discs, and I shall see you all very, very soon.